Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Mobile, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Friday, July 18th, 2025. It is good to see each and every one of you this morning. I know the chat will start to hum in a second. It's always great to see you guys here. I have a little treat for you. Good morning, Bobby Carr. I have a little treat for all of you. The president and vice president of the school district of Philadelphia board, the board of directors, the president and vice president of the board of directors will be on this morning at 7 a.m. to have a conversation with me about the facilities and what they're doing with their facilities in the school district moving forward. Good morning, Alexandra. Good morning, my darling. How are you? And so, good morning, John, my photographer person. You need to catch up with me, sir, so we can do some stuff because, baby, I am about to. Mr. Man Frisbee posted late last night that I am one of the people that were selected to walk the red carpet as an influencer in Philadelphia for the Big Black Ball, and so that is happening on August 9th. If you want to buy a ticket or to attend, please reach out to Mr. Man Frisbee and say my name. Just say Andrea recommended me because he's not just opening up tickets for everybody. That you have to, one of the influencers have to send the people to him. As soon as he tells you you're okay to attend the event, please pay for your ticket. Your ticket will be discounted under me. And so I think the tickets are originally $150. They're $100. If you say my name, they'll be $100, and you buy your ticket immediately. This is going to be the event of all events. I promise you. This is August 9th. Sunday at the roof of the Free Library. It's going to be a huge red carpet event, and I am going to be one of the influencers. So this upcoming Monday, I will not be on the air. I'll be away. Monday and Tuesday, actually, I'll be away. I just realized that I'll be away Monday and Tuesday. And then the following Monday, July 28th, I'll be off the air again because we're going to be featured on one of the daily shows here in Philadelphia. Five of the influencers, myself included, will be featured on one of the daily shows. So you'll see. I'll let you know when that's going to happen. So I'm doing that for the Big Black Ball. And then on August 2nd, I'm being given an award by Team Jamaica Bickle at the Hilton Hotel on City Line Avenue. So there's a lot going on for Marvel out here in these Wakandan streets. That award I was not expecting at all. And I can't even tell you what I said to them where they were like, wait, what? I said, why am I getting an award? I just do what everybody else does. Anyway, so I'm getting an award. If you'd like to get tickets for that, please also let me know. John Bowser, Sarita Scott from Duafe is doing my hair. We're doing something called threading. This is my hair, and then there's black thread wrapped all around it to create this. And so I absolutely love it. It's very regal. So for August 2nd at the Hilton Hotel, I'll have colors in my hair. For August 9th, I'll have colors in my hair if I can convince Sarita, because it's all thread. It's not hair. It's not the hair that you buy in the hair store. It's all thread. And she's already figured out what kind of decent hairstyle she's going to give me. Now that we recognize that this is working and I don't have to do anything with it, but just put a little cap at night and go to sleep and wake back up. I absolutely love it. It's more me, right? Yeah, it's really cool. So you got to catch me between August 2nd, where I'll be in my Jamaican colors, and August 9th, when I will be walking the red carpet. And I promise you, you are not going to be ready. I promise you. I got my fabric from Renee Bolden, took it to her, and she dropped it on the floor and said, ooh. So for those of you who are just joining me and wondering why I'm having this kind of a conversation, I'm well known in the Philadelphia area for designing my own clothes. I got sick and tired. I've stopped buying clothes in 2014. Everything was too expensive. I didn't want to walk around looking at marionettes of each other, and the quality of the clothing sucks, right? And they wanted $300 for $300 for a dress that just yeah. So I stopped buying clothes, and in 2015 I met Renee Bolden when another woman, Pat, said, I need you to go see her since you're not buying clothes anymore. She'll be able to help you. And there began an amazing relationship that is now 10 years old. I don't go into stores and buy stuff. This was designed by Renee. Like, I took it to her and I said, I've got this great piece of fabric. I want to go blah, 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 blah. And, this is what I want it to look like. I said, I want a shift dress, blah, 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 blah. And she made it, right? So this is how I'm doing it. And Renee does not charge me a whole bunch of money because I bring my fabric to her. And she loves the idea that I'm doing this stuff on my own and teaching people how to, do for themselves. But you got to think outside the box. And that's who I am. I think outside the box. My grandmother was an amazing seamstress, I'm told. My mother had the style and class that was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. My mother would get out the house, walk down the road, and cars would stop. She was fantastic, right? So this came as a direct result of my DNA. And so that's where I am. So excited about all of that. For those of you who are just joining me, at 7:00 this morning, the president and vice president of the school board of the school district of Philadelphia will be on to talk to me. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. They want to have a conversation about their facilities and what's going on. Thank you all so much. Yeah, John Bowser says bold urge, right? So there was a time, and I just want to tell all of you this. There was a time when I would not want to wear the things that I created because it was too much. Nobody in Philadelphia was dressing the way I was, the things I was wearing and the things I was doing. So it was kind of difficult, and people would just stare at me. And women would walk up to me and say, I'm not inviting you to anything I have because I'm single and I want to meet a man, and they're going to take away the thing. You're going to take the attention away from me. I've had more women than a little bit say that to me. So I started to pull back, and then I was like, no, this is who I am. I'm not trying to find a man. I got a man. I just love the idea of creating my own things and dressing in my own way. Anyway, I'm going to get off of that topic. Yesterday, I did a live, an impromptu live, because I was on here on the air yesterday morning talking about a friend who had a series of strokes, and she since passed away. By the time I got off the air, my other friend had to call me and say, Andrea, I hate to tell you this, but she passed away. And so I began having a discussion about our health and the fact that we're struggling and that we're using all kinds of things to make us feel better about ourselves. And that, part of the reason why I do, for instance, the hikes on Sunday mornings, and we've got to get back to that. When COVID was here and we could just go because church was online, it wasn't a problem. When we would walk and talk and we would share all the things that were going on in our lives, and it was such a release. Plus, we got to exercise, right? Because where I take you on the hiking trail is not just a regular path. You're going up, you're climbing on the trees, you're going over trees, you're all sorts of things. You're clearing brush out of the pathway because of storms. You're walking through the river. You're walking up. We did all of that. So it was a full body workout. And I'm finding now that, I'm quite by accident, I'm learning that people are going through. Be clear, I am going through too. Right? There's things that are on my mind that I have to constantly say, okay, God, how do I navigate through this, this, and this? So I don't want you to think I'm sitting here and all is well and everything is hunky-dory. We are all of us on some level or another dealing with something. So I got online and I spoke up about the things that I saw happening and what was going on and how we are to speak up. I'm sorry. On Facebook, you're hearing all my other sounds. I forgot to turn my microphone on. I'm sorry. My apologies. So you were hearing all kinds of noise, huh? All right, because it's not plugged in. Jesus be all the fences. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Y'all are probably hearing all kinds of noise on Facebook. Let me plug in the microphone for you so that it sounds much, much better. Come on, let's go. There we go. So there's that. Let me do a little bit of news and read some of your stuff here. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. And I can put the color in because it's thread. It's literally black thread intertwined around my hair. So I'm not pulling on my hair. I'm not using the hair that is being sold in the hair store. And when I first wore it last Thursday to the Philly Seeds Awards. Some women from Africa walked up and said, "Oh my God, we haven't seen that in a minute. This is so wonderful. It will make your hair grow, blah, 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 blah." And Sarita, when I talked to Sarita Scott from Duwafe, she said this is how she started Duwafe, doing this, doing just this. And she said she cannot convince Black women to wear their hair like this because I guess they feel subconscious, whatever it is. But y'all, I'm going to be the example for you. So I'm going to keep doing threading for a little while so that you can see, and it doesn't pull on your hair, and you just feel naturally good, and you cover your hair with a cap at night and get up in the morning and go about your business. It's a beautiful thing. So I am absolutely loving it. Good morning, Laura. Cheryl, good morning. Good morning. Jasenia says, "I will not be able to make the August 9th event due to another event. I'm looking forward to the pictures. I hope Mr. makes it an annual event." He is. He's going to make it an annual event. This is a fundraiser for the Achievers Brunch that he does every year. And every year, Mr. has to go beg for sponsorships and asking people to help. And people promise to give checks. And there's a large group of us that will give $50 or $100 every year. But it takes thousands of dollars to put on this event, because what he's doing is giving scholarships to African-American boys in the city of Philadelphia who have done really well, but they're ignored because, you know, there's a stigma that boys don't do well, et cetera, et cetera. I think he's done it now for over a decade. And so what he's going to do is this Achievers Brunch every year moving forward. So he called me and he said, "Andrea, I have this idea. I won't do that. You were the first name I thought of." He said, "Because you're constantly, you know, wearing all these fantastic things." And so he was like, "Would you do this with me?" And he gave me the parameters, and I said, "Ain't none but a chicken wing." So yesterday I'm talking to him, and he's telling us that we're going to be featured on the morning show 2 Mondays from now, and that we have to be there X, Y, Z, whatever. And he said, "Andrea, you went and bought fabric." I said, "I did." I told him when I was buying the fabric so that I could make this thing that I wanted to wear. He said, "You have so many things in your closet. I thought you would just go pull one of them out and go bam." I said, "No, mister, Philly just needs to take it up a notch. You know, we're going to do this." And it's something that I absolutely love to do. So you all, for those of you who have bought tickets and are coming, you are in for the treat of your lives, because none of you have ever seen what I'm about to do. And there's some things that I've done, you know, mudcloth gowns and all that other stuff. The Lord is good. So here I am. Giselle say, "You always look amazing. No one can copy your style." Thank you, my darling. And it's not to run around and look like everybody else. I have worn nothing that looked like anything else anyone has worn. So much so that I am about to start a line of just skirts. I love those fantastic skirts. And I'm about the 1940s, 50s, 60s, that kind of style, putting my own style to it. Yeah, boy, y'all, listen. Marguerite says women can be so catty, which is true, but you know, I appreciated their honesty. They want a man. I'm coming in there wearing all kinds of things. They're like, And I think at first folks thought that I was just doing this to compete or doing this to get. It's just what I do. My mother was a fantastic fashion wearer, and she would take curtain fabric and make dresses and stuff. Oh, she was fantastic. So when I was on vacation a few weeks ago, I drove up to New York City, went to my guy, and said to him, "I want to do, you know, I'm doing something for something." And I pulled something over here, went up to the upstairs to the upholstered fabric and pulled. He was like, "Upholster." I said, "Just watch me, bro. Just watch me." He said, "I cannot wait. Just tell me when you're going to finish." And then I went and pulled something else. So there are 3 pieces of fabric that I pulled to design something. I then took it to Renee. "Oh, thank you, sweetie pie. Where's the... Oh, you put it in my cup. I love you." Oh, Mr. Sanders. I sent him a text message and I said, "Can you bring me one of my protein shakes?" He brought it in my mornings with Mova Cup. Isn't that wonderful? So I am encouraging all of you to be your most authentic selves. Right? Don't try to look like everybody else. Don't try to be what everybody else. Just be your most authentic selves. Right? That's how that works out. Cheryl said, "I had a mammogram yesterday and I'm doing very well. No cancer." Yay, Cheryl. Yes, honey. Congratulations for going, and everybody's loving you. Marguerite wants to know, will I be getting my nails done to match my hair now? I haven't done my nails in months. I actually did this when I went to visit my sister down south. And because I knew I had all these things coming up, I have to call BB and see what she can do with my nails. I haven't seen BB and I don't even know how to get this on because I don't wear nails anymore. You know, this is how I save my coins. So I have to go to BB and I have to decide. For the Jamaicans, it's always that green, yellow, black, right? Green, gold, black. So it'll be that. And I don't want to do my nails like that. But for this other thing, Jesus, wet. So I have 2 things going on in a week, and I hope to see some of you in both places. Let's see what else is going on. Good morning, Erica. Good morning, my darling. So good to see you. Yes, Jasenia says she's still going to make a donation towards the Achievers Brunch. I appreciate it. The Team Jamaica Bickle event that's happening on August 2nd, where I'm getting an award, that money goes straight towards the athletes, not just from Jamaica, but from across the diaspora in the Caribbean, and the Jamaican athletes that live here and go to different colleges in the United States. All that money goes to making sure that they're okay, bringing them here, putting them in hotels. Good morning, Asa. Good morning, my darling. Putting them in hotels, making sure that they're fed well, that they're fed the Jamaican food, the island food that they're accustomed to. So everything that I do has there is a meaning to everything that I do. I don't just attend events just to attend them, right? I've been supporting Team Jamaica Bickle now for 20 years, the Achievers Brunch for over 10 years. So when Mr. Call, this is not just me getting all dressed up and going to be a part of this red carpet. That's the fun part of it. But all of that money is going towards these boys, these African-American boys, all of them graduating from Philadelphia School District, from the Philadelphia School District, that people don't ordinarily pay attention to, and he helps them. Helps to put them through college, gives them major scholarships and all these other things, and find people at the different colleges to mentor them and to make sure they continue to do well. For me, when you say children, you know what I just realized? Both things are about children. When you say children, there is nothing I wouldn't do for young people. I feel like we don't hear them enough. We don't, talk to them enough. And this has been my entire life. From as well as I can know myself, I've been making sure that children are okay. So I'm grateful to Mr. Man Frisbee for the big black ball that's happening on August 9th. I'm grateful to Team Jamaica Bickle, who are now almost 30 years in to, if they're not 30 years yet, into Team Jamaica Bickle and making sure they're taking care of the athletes that come on in. So I'm grateful to all of that. Asa, I am told that I will see you this upcoming Thursday at a kidney fundraiser. I'm looking forward to that, right? Looking forward to seeing you. And Antoine called me, and the same thing. Everybody knows me for getting dressed up in this city, right? John Bowser says, oh, you did. He said, so I took the big pivot 2 weeks ago. And like you said, be prepared to pivot again. Nothing stays the same. And I don't know how. And don't you know I have to make another big pivot? Thanks again for the mindset. So that's the thing about the photography. I'm excited. Just tell me what my fee is, because you always tell me you're not going to charge me for photography. But that's what you're doing full time, my brother. Tell me what I need to pay you so we can do what we need to do. I'm always here for entrepreneurship and making sure folks are okay. So Antoine Johnson, who's in need of a kidney, I'm telling you, everything I do is with a purpose. Needs a kidney. He's doing a fundraiser because he's sick, right? Like needs a kidney and needs to be able to help offset some of the costs for his medical care. And so he's doing this major thing this upcoming Thursday. And so Antoine called me yesterday and said, I swear, he said, I need you to come dressed, full face, summer soiree. I need you to come dressed the way you would come to my funeral. I'm like, dude, he's like, yes, I need you all to come dressed the way you would come to my funeral. I don't want anybody at my funeral who would, and I'm like, you dying something I don't know about? He's like, no, I'm just telling you, because eventually we're all going to die. And since I'm sick as a dog, that, my time might come sooner rather than later. But I want you to come, that when you walk through the door, Andre, everybody, and he says, I'm going to make you up. I said, I won't be a part of nothing. Just let me come and support you. So there's a lot of great people coming to his thing this upcoming Thursday. Influencers from around the country are going to be there. I'm not naming not one of them because you'll say, so, and I think his tickets were for sale, and I don't know where he's selling his tickets because he wouldn't let me get involved because he didn't want me to help him anymore. He's like, you've helped me enough. You've done enough for me. I just want you to show up and do what and be there. So I can't wait to see you too, Asa. I promise you, I can't wait to see you. So One of the things he's learned is that when he got sick, all the people who he thought were his friends, you know, very few of us that just kind of stuck with him and talk to him all the time, make sure he's okay, go see about him. If he has to go see a doctor, do I need to pick you up? Blah, 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 blah. We're in the cut quietly supporting him. Sometimes when, he feels like, I go sit with him and I go take him to lunch and we go walk to Whole Foods and we sit and people watch. And that's what people need. All this clicking of keyboards talking about, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sending up prayers for you. Let me know how I can help you. Stop that. Stop saying that. Stop saying, let me know how I can help you, and literally offer to help them. Tell me what you need. Say that. Tell me what you need, and I'll make sure that you have it if it's within within reason for me. Seriously. Right. So I'm going to do that this upcoming Thursday. And I'm really excited to see him and do that. It's just great. Just a lot of good things happening out here. The Achievers Brunch gives scholarships to African-American boys, much needed, under-recognized. I agree. And there have been a few politicians that has offered him a check for this and they never materialized. So it was just the regular folk that were helping him to put these things on by donating. He said to me the other day, he said, President Trump did something good in his eyes, that we have to stop looking towards scholarships and sponsorships from people and from big organizations and work within your community to get what you need. And I think he's going to achieve this with the big black ball. I'm so excited. Alexander says, Mova, does he have a proposal to spread for? He does. Does he have a proposal to present for corporate sponsorship? If he does, I would be happy to present it to my company's committee for next year. Absolutely. I'll let him know. And she says, at Marguerite, especially with what this administration is doing with student loan caps. Last Thursday at the Philly Seeds event, again, for children, for students, I'm telling you, you want me to do something? Tell me about students. I'm not coming to do anything else. It's always about students. Young man got up, is going to NYU, lives in PHA housing, and Kelvin Jeremiah and the Philly Seeds arm of the Philadelphia Housing Authority gave him a major scholarship. He stood up and said his he went to Philly School District. His tuition for 1 year at NYU is $97,000. Under President Trump, he's saying the cap for borrowing money to go into school is $250,000 for your lifetime. Do the math. So as a community, we're going to have to truly depend upon each other to get our children through school, to get our children into entrepreneurship, to help them build their businesses, et cetera, et cetera. We just can't sit here and suck salt through a wooden spoon and say, well, they're not, this is what it is and I can't do anything. It's just a lot, right? The event on the 9th is from 5 to 10. On the 2nd, everybody needs to get there. Laura, I need somebody to go with me on the 2nd too, if you don't mind. Team Jamaica Bickle is the truth. Working with you at their event is amazing. It is. Thank you, Marguerite. I appreciate it. It's just a lot, right? Mr. Man Frisbee, a big shout out to you. Yes, honey. And Mr. and Antoine has no idea that I'm talking about this. They just don't. Oh, Danette says, hi, Andrea. Some ladies and I completed Erica Durant's Roar class yesterday. It was very thought-provoking and eye-opening. Thank you for having her on your podcast. Child, don't make me cry. Yes, I can see these things are working. Just working. And I'm grateful to all of you. Maureen says, good morning, Andrea. I'm enjoying the conversation. Praise the Lord for your passion. Baby, let me tell you. Children. You start talking about teenagers and children, and I follow them all the way until they get to about 40. So I have a bunch of mentees. They call me Mother, which is where the name Mother came from. What's my mentees? And so, I have a bunch of mentees in their 30s, and I don't think I have any in their early. There are plenty that wants to be in their early 40s that wants to be wants me to mentor them. But I'm like, we sisters at this point. How am I mentoring you? But but I've got a lot of young people. One of them, I've been trying to get her to my house for the last few Sundays, but I have not been home. I said to her, we had gone to a thing, and she started telling me all she was going through. And I said, I want you to come to my house one Sunday. Take off your shoes. Go upstairs, climb in my bed, and go to sleep. She looked at me. She said, "Are you serious?" I said, "I am incredibly serious." So those are the kinds of things. When they're dealing with things, they can come over and talk. They've climbed into my bed. They've laid on the sofa. They've had they'll go into the spare bedroom and go to sleep. I feed them soup. I give them tea. That's mentorship, right? And the goal is, while I am working with them, I am learning from them too, because I can't just be that stiff-necked to think that I'm working with them and telling them what. And I don't tell them what to do. I give them back. I feed back to them what they give me, and let them make up their own minds about their own solutions, right? Because mentorship is not telling people what to do. It's literally working with them through whatever it is that's happening with them. So Erica, kudos to you for your ROAR program. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Marguerite. Donette Paris, good morning. She says, Alexandra says, thank you, Alexandra. Text me your email address and I'll get that information over to Mr. Today. What time is it? I'm waiting for the school board people. Y'all, I didn't get any news in today either. Just a lot to talk about. I love you all. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. We also have to talk about us going up to the mineral springs to take a deep breath. Laura is working through that right now. Give me a minute, because you heard all those things I just discussed that nobody knew publicly. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Plus, I got to work. And so we're dealing with that right now. Jesenia says children are her passion as well. Oh, it is. Marguerite says your home is a refuge and you are a safe space, which is why it is not just open to any old body. Y'all got to protect me as I'm protecting you, right? I really appreciate it. I see Reginald Streeter, so let me get him in here. Good morning.
Good morning,
sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. Are we waiting for Sarah Ashley Andrews?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm grateful. Thank you to the person that reached out to me about your wanting to have a conversation. This is my first time interviewing you ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm looking forward to having this conversation. Let me introduce you while I am waiting for Sarah. Reginald Streeter is the president of the Board of Education in Philadelphia. The Board of Education is the governing body responsible for overseeing all policies and budgetary decisions of the School District of Philadelphia. Streeter believes that public education is both a civil and human right. He is a personal injury, medical malpractice, and civil rights attorney at Feldman Shepherd, where he works tirelessly to secure monetary and programmatic relief for his clients. So this is my first time knowing what kind of lawyer you were. Oh, I got some people for you.
Let me know. We take care of our people, and we take care of everyone.
Black Jesus, especially the medical malpractice.
Oh yes, Black women typically are the ones who are treated the worst as it relates to childbirth or even in the hospital, pain and all that stuff. But yeah.
So I'll talk to you off the side about that. Sarah Ashley Andrews, now we know each other, is the vice president of the Board of Education in Philadelphia. She's committed to educational equity and to helping all the city students reach their greatest potential today so they have a better life tomorrow. Good morning to the both of you. Now, I know we're going to talk about your facilities planning, but before you got on, I was talking about a gentleman by the name of Mr. Man Frisbee. Sarah, you might know him. He has been doing an Achievers Brunch for over a decade, supporting Black boys from the School District of Philadelphia, giving them huge scholarships so that they can go off to school and do well. So I wanted to make you aware, if you weren't aware of that there are people out here really doing the work to make sure that the children succeed. This morning, though, we're going to have a conversation about your district-wide facilities planning process. Let's have a conversation about this. What's happening with your facilities and why are we having this discussion now?
Oh, yeah. So thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it. I mean, the reason why we're having this conversation is the Board of Education in fall of last year directed the superintendent, the good brother, Dr. Tony B. Watlington, a senior, to engage in kind of the legwork to prepare an option or options to present to the Board of Education by the end of this calendar year. And we're excited about that. And I just want to note for the record that this is not something that is only about buildings. It's about programming. It's about being able to reallocate resources to the babies where they're needed the most, as opposed to maybe having a footprint that may be a little bit too big based upon budgetary constraints that precludes us from giving our children all the things they need, whether it's AP courses, whether it's facilities that are more conducive for things such as extracurriculars like music and things like that. So I think that's what we're trying to, and I went to Germantown High School, so I think it's also intended not to recreate the unintended consequences that occurred when we did some facilities work about 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm excited about that. VP, what you want to add?
I just want to add, like, when we think about the age of our buildings, I know it's not just about buildings, but when you think about the age of the buildings, over 200 of our buildings are over 70 years old, right? We got to think about that. So when we want our kids to be in safe, welcoming schools, we got to make sure that the buildings are correct too.
Yeah, let's talk about the age of the buildings because you all inherited that. Let's be clear. I have been seeing these buildings for years, long before either of you decided you were even knew you were going to be on the school board. I'm having this conversation because I too sat on a school board for 8 years in Abington, and we always had to have a facilities plan. Right? What does that look like? There was a budget of money set aside, and I'm saying this because I want people to understand that without money, everything else is funny, right? And so, and I'm not even trying to be funny about that. Seriously, right? So we rebuilt there were 7 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and a high school, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? 1 elementary school cost millions upon millions of dollars. How do you decide, and with all your buildings crumbling, I mean, you have a couple of brand new schools, but a good majority of your buildings are in trouble. With all of them crumbling at once, how do you figure out how to remove the asbestos, repaint the building, create spaces where the buildings are warm and inviting? How do you choose which schools to do first?
You want to take it, or you want me
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the outset, I mean, I think we do have some opportunities. I mean, I'm an attorney, so I like to use a different word, maybe put a different spin on it. We do have opportunities as it relates to our facilities. But what I will say is we have some facilities that are better than others. That's true. We have some facilities that have some challenges, but I will say that the Board of Education has been good stewards of public dollars. We've rebuilt quite a few buildings. We have Amy coming online. We also had TM Pierce, Cassidy come online already. Our air conditioning, I believe we had a substantial majority of our schools that didn't have air conditioning. We've improved that to the majority of schools in the school district have air conditioning. And I think that because we may have buildings that are average age of over 70, we have some buildings that are better than others, and it's going to require us to have a phased approach, I believe, to engage with the issue. But I do believe also, the squeaky wheel gets oil often, right? So I think our buildings, while they may need some love and some touch up, some might require that. Some might require to be repurposed. Some might require it to be torn down and rebuilt. And some might require it to be just closed. And we understand that. So I think that's where we're at right now. But with that, Dr. Watlington and his team is in the kitchen right now cooking it up. But we need the community to come and support and engage in what are really right now these focus groups where individuals can come in and kind of see the data and see kind of how the district is thinking about this. We can get some input as to how we can best move forward.
And can I just jump in real quick with the data as far as the community engagement? When you ask about, like, how do we make the decisions, there are 4 things, right? We look at the building conditions, we're looking at program alignment, we're looking at capacity and utilization, and then we're also looking at neighborhood vulnerability, which I think is an awesome addition to how we, if you want to say, score these buildings, because a lot of neighborhoods have been through trauma, right? And they've been affected by school closures before. So we want to look at that neighborhood vulnerability, to make sure we don't, like President Streeter said, that we don't do any more damage, like with the Germantown high school situation, things like that.
That was. I could talk to you all 400 times. I'm telling you, we're going to stick to facilities today, but I literally could have a conversation about Germantown High School and what happened there, and the neighborhoods moving all into King and all the stuff that's going on there. All right, so where are you having these focus groups, and what does the community need to know to get involved? Because my concern is folks hear these things, they don't show up, and then when decisions are made, then there's a whole hullabaloo about nobody told us. So I'm grateful to have the conversation with you all this morning. Where are the focus groups happening? Do you know yet where those meetings are happening, etc.?
Oh yeah, we definitely know. Go ahead.
They've been happening all July. And so our next one coming up.
Wait, what did you say? All July?
Yes.
Black Jesus.
But
So
we got more.
we have more coming though.
Okay. Okay. All right. Tell me where they're going to be.
July 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're gonna be at Vere Washington Elementary.
Okay.
7/21 from 3:30 to 7. We're going to be at Finletter.
Where are you going to be?
Finletter.
Finletter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm writing it down because somebody's going to call me.
Yes,
and
I
ask.
appreciate that. That's why we had to get on here. We had to get the word out.
Okay.
7/22 from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to be right here. I'm saying right here because that's where I'm at right now. At the Dr. Constance E. Clayton Education Center. That's
and where is that?
440. That's 440. The school
district.
Okay.
Okay.
7/23 from 3:30 to 7 p.m. We're going to be at the Burgos Elementary.
Where's that located?
We can get you that. We're going to get you the address to it.
Okay.
And then on 7/24 from 3:30 to 7 p.m. we'll be at the Edward T. Still School.
7 p.m. Edward T. Stills. Okay.
And I also want to preview in the fall, I believe the superintendent is cooking up an engagement process that will actually take it to schools themselves when the parents and the babies
for back to school.
So this isn't the only time. I think that's also, I don't want this to turn into a red alert. But we do want the engagement now, but understanding that there will be other opportunities to engage. Mm-hmm. And I believe the board is imagining what it looks like once the plan has been delivered to the board for consideration. Right now, we have a policy kind of process that we may try to infuse in this, where we may give the community a couple bites at the apple to engage with us in a public hearing type format. So again, we're doing everything we can to make sure that we get this as right as possible. But I just wanted to also kind of foreshadow that as well for your listeners, that there will be enough opportunity.
Can I add just one last thing too? This is not just a listening session. Like when people come to these community engagement things that we have set up, they're actually doing the process that we do, right? That the facilities committee did. So they're sitting down, they're scoring the schools, they're looking at the school scores, and they're actually saying, okay, this is how we got here. It's just not listening to a presentation. You're actually going to be doing what was done with the facilities planning. So I think it's super important for people to get out and engage in this process.
Yeah, I saw. So I actually clicked on the link. Thank God for my producer. And I see, what are we? The 19th. So Vere Washington Elementary, 1198 South 5th Street, July 21st, Thomas K. Finletter School, 6101 North Front Street, Tuesday, July 22nd from 3 to 6 p.m., Dr. Constance E. Clayton Education Center, 440 North Broad, Wednesday, July 23rd from 3:30 to 7 p.m., Julia D. Burgos Elementary, this is on Lehigh Avenue, so that's more North Philly, right? And then Thursday, July 24th, the Edward T. Steele Elementary School on Wayne Avenue. I'm looking at, so thank you. I'm looking at this. You all have a process and a timeline on here. So let me go back to this and let you know. Go to www.philasd.org/operations, and you'll see all of this. If you are listening and you want to know where the schools, the meetings are happening at the schools, make sure you do this so that you can show up. If you don't show up and use your voices, people, I don't know what else to tell you. We've been having this conversation for a long time about being engaged in the process. And I understand also as parents and community leaders that you're busy. I get it. But if you come together as a group and say, I can't go, but you can go, you come back and report to us, then we'll be able to have the conversations and say, all right, this is what they're saying about my child's neighborhood school. What can we do to support and help? I'm grateful that you're encouraging and involving the parents and the family members to be a part of this process. And I'm sure you have over the years, but look, it's hard. It's hard, right? Folks are working and trying to do what they need to do so that they can support their children. Let me ask both of you this. Sitting on the school board in the District of Philadelphia is different on some level from being you're laughing, Streeter. Yo, we don't get paid for this, and it's rough. Oh, listen, it's rough. How do you navigate all the things that come your way every day, especially when you have the best intentions for the schools? You see what the budget is looking like at the federal and state and local level. You understand that the tax here, because of all the things that are going on, is not what it could be. We have the PHA who promised you money that you didn't get. Am I going into people's business? Am I?
You can say you can say some things we can't say. I'm loving it.
Because I'm known for telling her, you sip your tea, let me talk, right? And so, how do you navigate? It's. I remember people showing up just screaming, "I don't want my taxes to go," blah 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 blah. And you get all the complaints about the buildings. You get all the complaints about what's going on in the schools. You get but your role is to set policy. How the hell do you navigate all of this? Because it's so different from what I've seen on every other school board.
Well, I think for me, the blessing is VP and I are graduates from the School District of Philadelphia, right? And we have skin in the game, right? We have children, nieces and nephews, village members. So I think that's kind of the beginning piece of it. But I also believe that the board's focus on student achievement, thinking about why does this institution exist, is to educate children, and then ensuring that everything as to the best of our ability is in service to that, I think makes the job a lot easier, right? It makes it easier to decipher what is the red herring and what is the material fact. Excuse me, I mean, stop talking like a lawyer. So I think that's helpful as well. But I think that for us, we've gotten better at telling our own story, right? And I think when you get better at telling your own story, it could diffuse some of the things that could happen in the village where a whisper turns into a yell of something that may or may not be true. I think that's been a blessing. But also, I think that as brother Dr. Tony Watlington, I'm going to say brother, that's my alpha brother, and 06 to the good brothers for the convention.
Listen, you all are in Philadelphia having the women run cocoa for Cocoa Puffs, but that's another conversation for another day. Go ahead.
And so I think that having a great CEO or superintendent of the school district helps fully align on goals and guardrails. I would highly recommend the community just come and listen to our goals and guardrails conversations. You'll understand what our theory of change is, that if we focus on student achievement, then everything else will fall into place as well. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the other board members. You can't do this alone. We have 8 in addition to me, passionate public servants who get paid free 99. Even the retired ones are busy because they're in such high demand because they're great thinkers or great leaders. And this work is tough, right? And we've decided not to kick things down the cans down the road anymore as it relates to big topics, and we're done with it. Yeah. And I'll say this also, big shout out to our amazing mayor. Mayor Sherelle L. Parker has number one, she appoints the board and city council confirms, but she decided to put this collection of individuals balancing continuity from the previous administration, but adding some fresh voices, and we're seeing the benefits of that. And she blocks and tackles for this school district and for this board in ways that people can't imagine, that I know personally, because I know.
You sit there, right?
I sit there with her. So I think that's one thing as well. So I think right now we're in the middle of a public education renaissance. Student achievements up, dropouts are down. We're getting a handle on our facilities issues. We're doing the work, and I'm so excited. VP, I know you got some stuff you want to add as to how you can do this.
All of what President Streeter said for sure, but then I also think for me, the practical thing is that I go to therapy. I think that's something that's really important and major that, a lot of us don't really talk about. You can't do this heavy lift and to your point, get yelled at and cursed out. And even when you're making the best decisions and carry that alone. So, that's for me. And then I'm so thankful to President Streeter's point for the rest of the board members. We have a strong team, and I'm just grateful that those people were selected and that we come together and bring so much balance to each other. So everything that President Streeter said, I'm not going to repeat all that, but for me, is my faith in therapy also helped me navigate this.
Yeah. The Philadelphia School District has taken quite a few hits over the years, and you've all just been staying the course. How do you navigate when you have, because it's a school board, for me, it was set the policy and then let the school superintendent handle everything. You all were thrusted into, you got to handle this, and you got to manage that, and you got to figure this out. And I've seen you, President Streeter, with Dr. Watlington doing the guardrails plan. I did. I was sitting in South Broad Street in that big school when you were doing that, when you were unveiling that. The mayor was there. I sat there and I listened to all of that. But you struggle with the federal government about buildings. You're doing the best that you can with what you have. You you're looking at, because when you talked about the guardrails, you talked about student achievement and what was happening for the students. Can you give the general public some idea of what Dr. Watlington is doing now? Because it's like a big old cloud, right? And you're trying to navigate which raindrop you're going to deal with today, right? That's a lot. We want student achievement. We want our students to do well, which is why I introduced you all to Mr. Man Frisbee, because he's picking out the children that are going off to great colleges and nobody's really paying attention to them. I also noticed recently that you were doing congratulations, this school, congratulations. I see that now, because I've been saying for years, push out the good news so people don't always think it's bad news all the time, right? How are you supporting Dr. Watlington to be certain that all this bad stuff that's coming your way is navigated and worked through properly? Am I making sense? I'm saying without saying.
Yeah, I think what we've done, again, I think it's our governance. If you look at the board's operating, you're a former board member. So when you look at our board operating guidelines, you will see that we have a governance structure where we bounded ourselves, right? And I think you understand the value of institutionalizing good practices. We bounded ourselves, we bind ourselves to a student outcomes governance framework where we give the superintendent the tools, but we ask the questions now. Oh, hold up, is this budget aligned to our goals and guardrails? And then if he can give us a coherent answer or give us evidence, and we like data over here between you and me. And we also love when the students are learning what they need to learn so they can be whoever they want to be and fish in the way, not only know how to fish, right, but can fish in the ocean, can fish in the creek, and could fish in Delaware River if they need to. And I say that as an analogy because a lot of our babies are often given one-track skills. People think Black children should have Black jobs, for example, and only given one skill. But when the economy pivots in 10 years and they can't get a job, they're looking at themselves like they're not worth anything, but it's really the adults who fail. So we are all aligned on student achievement, understanding that proficiency in math matters. I'll give you a quick anecdote. I was talking to an individual who was very involved in big businesses, billionaire. He was saying student achievement matters because if somebody wants to be a welder, they have to know how to read the instructions and comprehend them, right? That's ELA. They have to be able to know how to measure a quarter inch. That's math. So when we're talking about student achievement is the key to unlock the future world for all of our babies, especially Black children who have historic, and there's other groups in the school of Philadelphia because we're a mosaic of individuals. That can't occur if they're not proficient in certain things as baseline, and everything should be in service of that. So I think that's how we're able to do it. We focus on student achievement, goals and guardrails, but yes, there are hot button issues that come up. And I think when the Board of Education hired Dr. Watlington and continues to support Dr. Watlington, we wanted a superintendent that could do a few things. One, listen to the community. I think that's very important. Philadelphia, we don't like to not be listened to. It is a problem.
Yes.
Don't gaslight the community. If the building is on fire, don't stand in front of the building and wave a flag and say, nah, you're nothing to see here. We're going to tell you the building's on fire. We're going to tell you how we're going to put this fire out and how we're going to make sure we're going to do everything we can to create policies and best practices to ensure that these fires don't keep reoccurring. We saw this with the special admission process. That evolved on our tenure. We also saw that with leveling, which is a big issue in the schools of Philadelphia.
Yes.
And I think my final point is we understand sometimes you got to go slow to go fast. And I think the Board of Education has got really good at sitting at the dais and taking the darts, knowing in our mind this thing is going to be fixed in a few months because we have all of the belief and the trust in the good brother, Dr. Tony Watlington, to manage this situation. And time again, he has delivered. And I think as you keep doing that, you can condition your village to now, okay, we know Dr. Watlington's on it. And we know that this board is on it and is going to get fixed. They're not tone deaf. So I think that's kind of our theory of change. And I think that is working. And, we're also repairing the harm that happened for over 15, 18 years when we were at SRC.
Why have I not been talking to you before now?
Because
when you don't communicate, you make assumptions. You understand what I'm saying? And the words that are coming out of your mouth are aligned with what I expect to hear from a school board president. It ain't about waving a white flag talking about nothing to see here. You're holding people's feet to the fire. I need to hear that. The community needs to hear that.
We got to do more of this, VP. She's been pushing. She be pushing.
I've been.
Well, praise the Lord, Ashley. Yeah.
I do want to add, when we talk about goals and guardrails, we actually monitor student achievement every month. Every month we monitor the goals and the guardrails. And so in addition to our board meeting, right? So we have our board business meeting, and then we have a goals and guardrails meeting. So I want to push those dates out to you. I don't have them off the top of my head right now, but I want to make sure that people know that they can come to both, and you can watch it virtually or come in person. And we want to hear from you.
Yes.
So, you know, those are two opportunities to engage with the Board of Education.
Yes.
And they're usually the first Thursday of the month, typically.
First Thursday.
Also, thank you, VP. We really want people to engage with the goals and guardrails, which is where we talk about actually what the data is telling us, and what is the district going to do about it. The action meetings, we do talk about student achievement in a way, but not as much. And then we have this thing called policy meetings. Typically, people come to us and will raise holy, you know what, and say, we don't like what you're about to do with this policy, but they don't engage in the process. And we could do a better job of telling people when those meetings are and what's on the horizon. But that's where the board kind of goes through a cycle of looking at our policies in a phased approach to determine what policies need to be updated, what policies need to be sunsetted, and what policies are problematic. And then that's where you talk to the policy committee. You understand committee work.
I do.
And then that's where the village's input from that space can be. But I know from my understanding, the superintendent engages as well as the administrator. But the board sometimes have its own lane of engagement.
Yes. So for those of you who are just joining us and listening to us, I'm speaking with the president and vice president of the board of the school district, Board of Education of the School District of Philadelphia. And if you don't know how a school board normally operates, is that we set the policy and hire and fire the superintendent. This particular board.
That's right. Brother Watlinson, he my fraternity brother, but he don't move them numbers.
So one of the first things that I noticed, and I've got friends in the school district at the highest levels all the way down. One of the first things I noticed was Watlington said to the people who were sitting up at his cabinet, get your ish together, because you're supposed to serve students, you're supposed to serve families, and we want to make sure you're doing what is right on behalf of those folks. When I saw that email, I was like, yes. Because so many people were sitting very comfortably in their six-figure jobs and really not doing so. I knew at that point he was trying to hold people's feet to the fire. And then when you put in the guardrails, the programming for them, I do some work in some of the schools and talk to the students about not about their grades, but what is happening to them in their communities. What's impacting them, how are they dealing, and the stories are horrific, right? They are dealing with things in the communities. They're very afraid to walk to school, all of that. So that impacts student learning on a majorly level. I've heard you all trying to address that. And you talked about, being able to read, the instructions as you are, doing your work, being able to measure a quarter inch, that kind of stuff. But we still hear educators saying they have to teach to a test because of what the state and federal government requires of them. How do you marry the two so that the children are learning as they are trying to pass tests that the federal government requires of them?
Well, first, I think there's a misnomer that this school board only cares about test scores, right? First of all, we're mandated by the state and we can't ignore it. So right. if somebody comes up with a better mechanism for the state to use to hold us accountable, please go to Harrisburg and engage. But right now, this is the tool that we have. But I do believe, and I think this kind of started under Dr. Height as well, and I think Dr. Watlington is taking it and running with it. If you teach children the skills they need, their test scores are going to go up. You don't have to teach to the test, but if a child understands the order of operation, PEMDAS, I still remember that. Please excuse my dear Sally. They should be able to then take those to the test and take it. Understanding there might be test anxiety, children with dyslexia, people who. That's another thing that we don't do enough in our community. Embrace the fact that your child might need an accommodation. Right. I was in law school and I couldn't believe how many students who didn't look like us got like a whole extra day to do an exam by themselves in the room, lit in the way they want it lit. Right. In our community, we for some reason, we kind of push back on those type of things. So I think that's kind of where we're at. Right. It's not just the tests. It's the underlying skills that all children should have that should influence their ability to take the test, controlling for things like obviously test anxiety and stuff like that. And I just want to also say the guardrails. So to us, the guardrails are the conditions for success, right? Things such as safe and welcoming schools, well-rounded school experience, extracurriculars. We have an anti-racist guardrail. So I'll explain to you what the guardrails are. So the goals are what we want the superintendent to do around student achievement.
Mm-hmm.
The guardrails are almost like you can do it, but you can't do it by way of this way. So for example, if Sarah Ashley and I are the board members who are doing the goals and guardrails meeting at the facilitators, we get to ask the school district and the board gets to ask the school district about data. So they might show us data. So we're saying in our STAR assessments that children in grades 3 to 8 are ahead of the game, are had a 6% increase from fall to spring. And we are very excited about that. That opens the door for the board to do this. Well, Dr. Watlington, are you doing that? But are you doing that in a way that still honors the guardrail, that you do it in an anti-racist way? Because you know that you, as a board member, you know you can play games with the data and amplify anti-systemic racism.
Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely.
But we want to make sure that you're also doing it for the children who typically are at the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. Or we can say, Dr. Watlington, are you doing this, but are you taking away extracurricular time? Because we see that as a guardrail that you have to do in order. So it's a holistic approach, and the guardrails are intended to be community values, right? We don't want our community values to be trampled on just in the sake of test scores or the goals. We want to make sure that you're doing it and infusing them, and they're all in service to the goals. So that's what we're doing. We got to do this more often, VP. That's what we're doing.
Oh, now you got to do it more often.
I'm not saying nothing.
That's what we're doing, because when we do that, we want our parents to be proud, and we also want to be a choice, right? Yes. And I know that many people make choices not only for the student achievement piece, because they want to know their babies are safe and their babies are affirmed,
yes.
right?
Yes.
We're not going to have you. We're not going to push proficiency, but say you don't knowing who your ancestors are doesn't matter, right? As you know, Dr. Constance E. Clayton made this the first school district in America that require African American studies to be taught. Yes. Hopefully, we can keep doing that, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna need y'all help with advocacy as it relates to you know who. But yes. that's the theory right there, that we can educate these children who people said we couldn't educate, and do it in a way that's inclusive. We can do it in a way that is well-rounded, because if we don't do it now, not only is it good for them now, we believe we prepare children for the real world. We don't want children going into the real world being book smart, but not knowing how to navigate a global economy, a global society. So, BP.
I just add real quick that we have brand new curriculum, math curriculum, brand new ELA curriculum, and brand new science curriculum. Yep. So just to add that too.
So I think the average parent didn't even realize that this was going on. Can you make a commitment to us here on Mornings with Mother, where we talk at least every 2 or 3 months, and you give us an update on what's going on, especially as the school year starts to begin in late August, early September? What does that look like? Which building is going to be impacted first? How can they reach out to you if they're seeing something that doesn't make sense to them? And they've gone to the school district and nobody has said anything. So how can they reach out to you? And I'm telling you all as parents, the school board is not the first place you go to when you have an issue. You start in your building. Please start with the person you're having the issue with. If that doesn't work out, go to their supervisor. If that doesn't work out, go to the principal. If that doesn't see what I'm saying, I'm gonna need you to follow the chain of command. Don't just go to the school board, because it has to be at that space where you should reach out to them in that moment. But I just feel like there is a lack of communication on some level, and so assumptions are being made all over the place. And the best way to combat that is for us to talk more often.
Yes, I can definitely commit. VP, can you commit?
Yes, I can commit.
She already committed. She done committed. but so, and I think you're right, because so for example, I'll be able having these conversations. We can kind of plant seeds such as this. So so the school board, through the recommendation of our superintendent, following our goals and guardrails and our Accelerate Philly strategic plan, which is a 5-year plan, which is best practice. We can talk about that another day, about the actual plan, move the needle, and it looks like it's working. We've invested in something called Let's Talk, right? And it may sound kind of corny and cheesy, like goals and guardrails sound corny and cheesy to some people in Philly. I get it, but this thing works. So it's another layer of engagement where we can actually track by way of data. Like, why are we're done being in the 18th century of how we engage, right? We're trying to do a full court press where somebody can go on the website. There's a little button, and it's not inconspicuous. It just says, "Let's talk." You click that, and you can, it'll direct you to who you need to talk to, what you want to talk about, the subject matter, and then you type it in and you put it in. At that point, the superintendent has an expectation that the district staff respond within a certain time. So going on the days where you have to call an office and it rings.
Yes.
We now have an ability as a board and as a district to actually not only see who's engaging, now we can see trends. Is it 50 parents? Is it 20 parents? And you know those word clouds where the one word is bigger than others?
Yes.
It creates that where like it's easy for us to see, okay, this issue is either a squeaky wheel that requires a precision kind of scalpel approach, or this is a huge problem. We need to bring a mallet, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask parents and anybody who wants to engage in the district, even if you do get through, I would still say, go to Let's Talk, click the John, and then like just put what you need in there. You can even say, I called this person and I did talk to someone.
Right.
I'm sure that this was recorded electronically, and it allows the superintendent to double check, because that's, I think, the culture change in the district that I believe is causing is the shift. It's engaging with parents. And then Parent University is coming back, y'all. Parent University is coming back. Dr. Arlene Ackerman, God rest her soul, had this great idea. And from my understanding, it was a great thing.
It was.
Due to fiscal challenges, but we're going to do everything we can do to protect it so that we can help our parents be the champions that we know that they want to be for their babies.
Okay. Wow. I'm so grateful for this conversation. The Let's Talk button alone makes me happy, because when parents reach out to me and I say, I said, put everything in email. Now I can say to them, everything that you put in that email, hit the Let's Talk button, copy and paste, and let them know exactly what happened, line by line, precept by precept, so that you'll be able to get some support. And if nothing still happens, you can come and say, look, I put everything in the Let's Talk, which then you can say to the superintendent, yo, what's happening?
Exactly.
If this is in the Let's Talk thing and nobody's addressing it, why are we not talking about this? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, President Reginald Streeter and Sarah Ashley Andrews. This was a great conversation. I'm actually going to pull it out so that people can listen to it again, and let them know what's happening here. I'm grateful to the both of you. You go with the AK. Did I say the AKAs? Did I say the
They first family, so it's all love. They first family.
Alphas with the Alphas this weekend. Enjoy yourselves in Philadelphia. I hope you're giving them a hometown welcome so that they can thoroughly get to see all the things. Send them to all the Black establishments like Booker's Restaurant on Baltimore Avenue. Let them see that as Philly, we are the John, literally, right?
Chocolate City, the real Chocolate City. Let's get it.
With Chocolate City, yes. And Sarah Ashley Andrews, I've known you for a while. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you continue to do. Thank you for encouraging Reginald Streeter to come on here, because this is really necessary work. And when we have the communication and the conversations, then all things are possible. Now I get to tell people all about the things that you just discussed with me, right? And we can push out the word so that folks know where they can go and not just show up to the school board meeting angry.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank both of y'all. Black women are always saving us. Both of y'all for saving me. As a Black man, I'm always going to give the flowers to the sisters. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you both so much. Have a great day, okay?
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So that was a good conversation. Did you see how that interview went, y'all? This was not I'm going to tell you. You have to ask the questions, get to understand, because there was so much in that dialogue that I didn't know. So much that I didn't know, that now I have an understanding and I can let you all know about it. So it's Friday, y'all. I will not be on the air on Monday and Tuesday. Mother's got to do some other things, but I'll see you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, okay? This episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. See some of you soon. Bye-bye.